Hello, happy full moon in Leo. I am getting ready to bring my solstice, Moonlight Soul, on here for our mid-month chat. And we are definitely challenging the energies by trying to go live in the midst of a Leo full moon with Uranus as active as it is. So that is where we expect the unexpected. So we're going to try something a little different this time where she is going to request to join me as opposed to my requesting her to join. Because the past couple lives, we've had issues where she can't see me and we have to work around it. So we are just going to, hey girl, we are just going to roll with it because that's what happens in full moon energies. So how's everybody feeling out there? The full moon peaked a few hours ago, and I know yesterday myself from tapping into the energies for the empowerment reading that it is very powerful and potent with the energies that are coming in with Uranus and Mercury, and I won't speak for Moonlight Soul. She will fill us in there for sure, but she's just coming on now, so I'll wait for her to request to join and we'll see if she can see me. But we're going to talk about the cards that came up when we met ahead of February, and we tapped in using this gorgeous tarot of the cosmic seed and brought in the beginning, middle, and end of the month energies and where we're at. We're going to check in because we're right around here with this Seven of Cups, which is bringing in a lot of that Neptunian energy and opportunities for choice. And in many cases, sometimes that choice is not clear. So there is definitely some discernment called for. Had a poor connection. So we're just going to roll with it, guys. There's always messages in the mundane, so we'll see what's coming in. I see you. Do you see me?
No.
No. And just before I accepted it, it paused the live saying I had a poor connection.
Oh, okay, but I can see on the other phone, so that's fine.
Okay, so you're hearing me with a little delay. So the antics continue with the electronics. So we're here for it. So
Oh, what
yeah,
can you do?
I was just kind of mentioning about bringing out our three cards that came up with our February energies that we checked in on, and knowing that we're just about hovering over that Seven of Cups here in these energies. And I was starting to explain just why the energies are so unexpected and expect the unexpected, but I said I would leave that to you.
But this is funny because I can see me on my other phone.
So you're just seeing yourself. How Leo of you.
Right? I mean, it is happening in my seventh house, so what can you do?
Go ahead, see yourself, girl. So yeah, so
It's okay. You
tell
just roll with it.
tell us a little about this unexpected energy with Mr. Uranus in the mix and Mr. Mercury and all the things.
Oh yeah, like it's interesting because the way I was interpreting it in my astrological forecast when I was talking about this lunation was that this Uranus is in the case it is forcing us to embody these new Aquarian energies, so because Uranus being in a sign of Taurus, obviously currently being the ruler of Sun and Mercury, and they being in a new phase conjunction because they just conjunct last Sunday, and then Monday we had the Mercury making exact square to Uranus, which is a closing square, the crisis in consciousness. We need to change the way we identify things and how we think about reality in order to be a frequency match to this new way of being. And then the Sun square in Uranus, and yeah, Uranus. Yes, from the mundane everyday reality, we have all these technological interesting things happening, but from the level of consciousness that we are learning to integrate, this is all about grounding this new way of being, because Taurus is the foundation, Uranus as the ruler of the Sun and the Mercury, obviously in opposition with the moon, which is the full moon in Leo, so it's illuminating to us what needs to change and what needs to be embodied and anchored in order for us to live a life that is in alignment with our authentic essence, with our authentic expression, our sense of joy and purpose and destiny. Yeah. So it's forcing us to do that through this square.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like, and so many of us, I know in the spread that we did this week for the collective, we had the judgment card come up as a potential block or challenge. And I keep hearing many people pulling that card out, whether in personal readings or collective readings. And in the Tarot of the Cosmic Seed, sticking with that deck that we use for February, it's this amazing card that's called Liberation.
Mm.
So it really is taking this notion of, I call it, it's the I'm coming out card. It's like the I'm coming out, so you better get this party started, because it is like, yeah, there's no choice but to be authentic, but there's also a very rebellious energy to it as well,
Mm.
like in the best way, like in a way of like, have fun with it and just be you, you know? And so I love that too, like just an opportunity to come as you are. And I love that word liberation, to the judgment, you know, to really like, we're flipping it, which is perfect because of course today's energy is the hanged one, which is that, you know, that way of looking at things from a different perspective. So yeah, like you say, there's technical things and unexpected stuff that pops up. I shared this morning, like we had snow overnight, the kids had a delay, so that was my, you know, my hold up was the 2 hour delay. Practical stuff, you know, the way that it shows up. And then in the macro, you know, all kinds of activities with Mother Earth, whether it be volcanic or earthquakes, definitely a lot of that energy present. But then when we want to bring it into, okay, so how do I be in this energy? It's like authentic. Authenticity is such the word that's coming through in our expression for sure.
And also because Venus, as the current ruler of Uranus, is in Aries for the first time, because we know that Venus is preparing for her retrograde. She's already in a shadow and she will be going back into Pisces and then re-entering Aries again. So it's like we are seeking our new sense of value in ourselves and also in what we are valuing, you know, with regards to the external environment, because many people just don't resonate with the same things they did before, and they're just not willing to sacrifice and suppress who they really are and their sense of joy, you know, just to gain certain material satisfaction or something. So I think there is a lot of reevaluation, obviously, with Mars as the ruler of Venus at the moment, still going retrograde until the end of the month. So there are a lot of things that are being illuminated, reflected to us, and under the same umbrella there is a lot of internal pressure, I feel, for things to change. But of course we know that the change has to happen from inside out because we're creating a new foundation. So this is a very, very interesting energy, and I think we will not necessarily see much stuff manifesting just yet, because with the Mars retrograde and subsequently we'll have the Venus retrograde next month. But the seeds are being planted, and this is also what I shared with you, that despite the fact that this is a full moon, I am strongly tapping into this energy of like a rebirth, reset, like it's like a restart or something.
Yeah, I totally feel that too. And I think that's definitely bringing us current with our mid-month energies, because we have the 7 of Cups. And so just what you described, I mean, there's choices that have been made. There's things that we may have been, you know, reaching in and putting our energy into that we may have now decided we want to make a new choice. Or like, you know, that whole notion of needing to make a choice without really knowing what all that entails, or what is there beneath the surface of the choice. And so that's where we're still in this energy of not having a ton of clarity, but being able to make that choice nonetheless, because we're really being pushed to turn within, to go in and honor your own inner knowing, your inner compass, to trust how you are feeling guided versus maybe what is expected or the obvious choice. Or also just that, all that, we had a lot of water in that spread, so there's definitely a lot of emotion, there's a lot of feels that we're still moving through. So you know, that's all things that, you know, we're sort of working layer by layer so that we can get to that place of full illumination and clarity as well. So it's kind of like the birthing process. It does feel like there's this rebirth or reset happening in order to really step into the new, which I feel, you know, Aries season you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. Aries and Taurus season for sure.
Yes, well, of course, for you, birthday season. Um, yeah, so let's pull our cards up so we can get those going. So to join our three cards that we tapped into on episode 34 for this month in progress, we're going to use the Psychic Tarot for the heart. And do you see me on your other device, Mila?
Yeah,
Okay, all right, yeah.
I
So
can
we're working around
see
technical
you. It's just a
difficulties for
slight
everybody
delay,
that's
but
joining
not
us.
much.
She can't really see me, but I'm going to describe it. Anyway, she sees these cards in her sleep.
Anyway,
She knows exactly
I
what
can
they
see
look
you
like.
only like there is only like 5 seconds delay, so it's not so
Oh,
bad.
okay. All right. So we are bringing in some intention here with everyone that's joining us live. If you're catching the replay, just feeling into the collective energies through a past, present, future lens. Just getting some insights into these energies that we are moving through in February and here on the Leo full moon. What's coming forward for us here? And we'll see what wants to come through. And then we have a really beautiful oracle deck to tap into for a special message. Speaking of Aries, it's the Emperor coming in with
Oh, lovely.
lead. Lead, okay. So we've got that past energy coming in with the Emperor, card 4. And now present energy. Coming in here. We got another chakra card. We got the chakra card last month. This is the crown chakra, so it's number 7. That 7 was coming up a lot in our card pulls last time too. We were talking about, of course, we got the 7 of cups. We pulled a 7 in the oracle card at the end. We were talking about Neptune. We talked about 7-7. So I'm going to pull a clarifying card with that one since it's not a tarot card. So with the crown chakra, what is coming in to know there for the present? 6 of cups, beautiful. So
Nice.
it is bringing through a very healing. Yeah, we didn't talk about Chiron in this moon, but yeah, definitely some healing available, some energies there where I've had a couple people ask too about feeling like, is it me or does it feel like 2020? Is it me or does it feel like the 90s are coming back? Like there is definitely this like reflective energy that's taking us back to certain time and space where there was a certain energy, a certain frequency that is kind of coming around again that we're experiencing through the current lens.
Yeah, and it's also, I mean, Leo is connected to this nostalgia, like looking to the past. Also, Cancer, you can say, is like the memories of the past. So it makes sense to be in the full moon in Leo. We're still in the peaks of it, that we have these cards coming up as the mid-month energies, that we are like looking back and, you know, like digesting these after effects of full moon coming forward, and then deciding also moon is going to move into Virgo tonight, which is all about that putting into practical application, the realizations that we are currently, I guess, realizing or whatever. So there is a lot of that. And of course, like with the South Node being a sign of Virgo, this is what we build in our future on. The past, right? Like those who walked the earth before, whether it was us or our ancestors or just the collective experience, this is like what we're learning, and this is where we're coming from. So we're just going to build from that.
Yeah, and the other thing too is, and this came up in the empowerment reading for the full moon. When you think about, okay, I'm coming out, so how am I going to express myself authentically, and what am I going to put my energy into? This takes us back to what did you love as a child? What brought you joy? What made you excited? And don't even think about and all the practical things that need to happen in order for you to even think about expressing yourself or pursuing a particular hobby or interest or anything. So the nostalgia too, from not just, of course, a lot of opportunity for healing and all of those things, but also, connecting with your inner child in a way that is very joyful, is very, finding who you were when you strip away all of the layers of conditioning and things that have brought you to now. To kind of come back to that essence too, I think is important. And that's our present energy that's coming up here in these 3 cards.
Exactly. And that's also the sun as the ruler of the moon, because moon being a sign of Leo, it's about the individuation, right? Like the authenticity and individuation, the Aquarius and the Leo, they are all about creating this new expression of yourself, which is not new, but has been suppressed by, like you said, these layers of conditioning, these stories, this old program, the Mercury, the program, the software we were being installed in our early environment, schooling system, and all the rest of it, neighborhood, whatever you want to call it. So now it's like, it is not a new energy, but it's being experienced in a new way. Exactly. Yeah, the Capricorn, I mean, this is an Aries card, but to me it's the Mars in Capricorn. So either way, like we are expressing ourselves in a new way, but it's not a new version of us. It's actually what we always been. We just didn't have the opportunity to express ourselves that way. So yeah, with the opposition, it's all about balancing. So I really feel that.
It's like what you just said. It's a reset. It's a factory reset. It's like setting your phone back to the original settings. I love it. Yeah, let's do a
Exactly.
factory reset. And yeah, we were just talking about that before we came on because you got a new computer and things are moving, right? You're like, it's amazing. I can just open it up and it comes on and it
Yeah.
works. And instead of all this, this gunk of these layers and everything that's draining of the energy, it's like completely an analogy for doing a factory reset to our inner child. I like that. Yeah. So let's see.
It's awesome.
Our third card wants to come out for the future. So let's see what we're looking at as we move through. And we had 5 of Pentacles for the end of the month when we tuned in for the February energies. So let's see.
Yeah, I feel that.
4 of Cups again. So this was how we
lovely.
started. We got a 4 of Cups in episode 34 when we tuned in for this month. And there it is. But opportunity beckons. So in the future, another 4 of Cups coming up to remind us about what's right in front of us that we have to work with. So here's our 3 cards that are coming up today that we're bringing in for a little past, present, future. But as we know, it really leaves a story. What you were just describing about the inner child and the conditioning, I felt that Emperor right away from that sense of a more rigid, more, rules and, kind of being more in a box kind of a way. And yet that has a place to have a plan, to have some structure, behind the 6 of Cups is the crown chakra after all. So yes, we have to use the logical mind. There's some thoughts involved, some thinking and planning, but there's also an opportunity, I think, maybe to be a little more impromptu, impulsive, if we will, with just for the joy of it, not necessarily because it makes logical sense.
Yeah, but it's also interesting. We have 2 4s, and we know that 4 is like the 4 legs of the chair or table. Like we're creating a new foundation here. Again, the structure and stability, and it is the house of Cancer in astrology. So like the 4th house is the Cancer archetype, which is again to start from the inside out, right? Because if we don't feel safe and secure inside of our own skin, in our own home, which is the body, right, the home for the spirit, that we will not feel safe in this world. It doesn't matter what this world has or doesn't have to offer, unless we feel safe and secure within ourselves. We won't find it outside of us either. And I just feel that it's interesting, like when you put the cards up together, like how they're telling the story of humanity, the emperor, being born into the world that is already operating on certain system, structure, like we are being incarnated into the world that is already like, it's running on a certain software in a sense. So, like the structure, the Capricorn, it's set in a place, you're born into it. So you're just being plugged into the matrix. And yeah, and then the 6th house, the childhood and all that, the nostalgia, like in a sense, we know the 6 of Cups is like these beautiful childhood memories and stuff. And now we have the adult, the number 4, the spirit that now grown into the adult and has to become the Capricorn and take responsibility for his own life and like reevaluating. This is like the last card, the 4 of Cups, literally is like this full moon in Leo, like thinking of who, like just exactly what you use as an example. Who were you where you were a child before the conditioning set in? That's literally what these stories, these cards are telling that story, that now we are at the last 4 of Cups, which is like many of us feeling frustrated, disillusioned. What is the point? Does then, any of this make any sense? Like maybe lack of lack of hope for many people, void of happiness and all the rest of it. So we like thinking like, oh my God, like what am I going to do with my life? You know, also being a full moon in Leo, the purpose and destiny and stuff. So we are reevaluating that. What is this world I was born into and who did I come here to become? And the answers are within you, right? Mm-hmm. The answer is in the cups. How does any of this make you feel? And dig deeper. So I really feel that just these 3 cards in itself, they are telling the story of humanity as we see it at the moment, that it is the like we are at the fork of the road where people just have to decide, do I want to continue this path and keep reliving the same reality that is being created by someone else, the structures and the power as we know them, or am I going to create my own?
Yeah, amazing. And that story is spot on. I'm hearing that story too, for sure. And I think that the fact that we got 2 4s, the same card coming through, and you can see how it's depicted in differently in both of these, but there is this disenchantment with what meets the eye. What, you know, I think a lot of us can say we're dissatisfied with what we see in front of us. And so when you look at those cups, and, you know, you could be in any degree of disgust, apathy, disenchantment, you know, just whatever with what's in front of you. Those things do serve. And we talked about this, you know, when we were tapping into the energies for this month, because they're the squeaky wheel. It's the thing that gets my attention. That's like, this sucks. You know, like it's literally like, I don't like this. Like, this is not what I want. I don't want to drink from these cups anymore. And so it's that discomfort. It's that thing that moves you, right? I mean, let's just say it. Like, that gets you to be like, where's my beautiful golden cup that's brimming with all this potential? And that's when we find it. That's what leads us to look, to get uncomfortable, to, and yeah, like what you were saying here, like I totally see those blueprints are drawn up, like, you know, copy, paste, ditto, like we've just been creating more of the same thing from that same place, which has served, it had a purpose and meaning. And that meaning is evolving, it's changing, and that's what it's supposed to do. So the process of experiencing that change, the process of moving through that is icky, you know, it's uncomfortable, it's all the things. And so when we find ourselves there, can we find a little silver lining in the idea that like, ooh, this is yucky, which means we must be on our way out of this. Like there must be something coming on the other side of this. And that every step I'm taking through this muck, every choice I'm making as it's presented, and I'm doing so again from that inner compass, that inner knowing, I'm using my own intuition, I'm feeling into it, not just using the mind. That's where the hearts, the energy of the cups and the fire energy that's in that emperor come together to create something new. And so then we land on, again, this opportunity for this restructuring, this framework that we are, you know, like we've said before, like if the bones are good, right? So we don't have to tear down the whole thing, but we're using that with what we now know to create something new.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And that's also, I really feel that, you know, a lot of people can resonate with this energy, especially because with the South Node being in Virgo, North Node being in Pisces, and this being the year 9, culmination, as we already discussed, and the year of Hermit, a lot of people are doing a lot of introspective work, a lot of cleaning up, you know, of the closet, inner closet, to make space for this new energy. And again, it's up to, because like, I know that we talked about it before, that, you know, universe is unlimited, but universe is not going to go chase after you that, hey, do you want this opportunity? No, we have to become a frequency match to it. And just like you said, that everything serves. And yeah, if nothing else, it serves as a contrast, because how would we create this sparkle of new desire, this Ace of Wands, you know, if we didn't have a contrast? We know what we don't want, so then we're going to go look for what we want, right? And it's also about the continuous evolution, you know, that things are continuously changing. Just because it made you happy or it was what you wanted 20 years ago, you know, don't beat yourself up for now wanting something different, because then we can go into the self-judgment that, oh, I'm being selfish, or, you know, I'm never satisfied, I never have enough. But you didn't come here to be complacent and satisfied. You know, you came here to continuously grow and evolve. And that's the soul's desire. That's why we keep coming back, because the soul continuously wants to expand and experience new things, create new things. So all of these things, just like you said, everything is serving, whether it's the good thing or the not so comfortable, pleasant things, everything is serving. And then it's up to our discernment and our own capability to discern, to choose for ourselves, like what it is that is my preference, and how am I going to change this pattern, break free from the pattern that is no longer working for me. And that takes some stamina and some strength, right? That what we had last year, strength, willpower and determination is that Virgo thing, that we need to, is the step-by-step process, like the everyday mundane reality of overriding the program. That, oh yeah, I've done this a million times before, so I'm doing it on automatic. I don't even have to think about it. So now if I want to do something different, I really have to be conscious about it. And when I, just like you and I keep reminding ourselves, when I catch myself falling back into the old, don't judge yourself, because we all changing the patterns that are as old as, humanity, thousands of years time, and we're creating a new blueprint for those yet to come. So this is, this is the in-between. So it's not an easy time.
No. That's for sure. Yeah, this is it. We're in the trenches. You're in the groove of that record. It's like we need that record to skip in order to kind of jump out. And that's why the discomfort, that's why the things show up. And that's where I feel we're entering then the Five of Pentacles that showed up for us for the end of the month, because thank the door that closed in our face. Thank the door that never opened, because that's the thing, that rejection or that sense of FOMO or being on the outs or any sense of lack of not enough, then causes one to look up and look around. That's where the potential is. And I mean, it's 3 times showing up here with 2 Four of Cups and a Five of Pentacles, both of which give me that look up, look out, and see beyond whatever is your present circumstance. Because if you're feeling uncomfortable, if you're feeling on the outs, even when you're feeling unwell, we talked about the Five of Pentacles also being a card of like physical dis-ease in the body and unwellness. Thank the thing, right? And I know, I get it, when we're in the moment, and many of us are in that season right now of the ick, that that's the physical manifestation of that energy that needs to move. So, when it shows up, now I know. Now it's come to my attention. And instead of kicking myself for not seeing it sooner or not realizing it, woulda, coulda, shoulda, I take it in this moment and now allow myself to be inspired to take action here and now, and trust it's divinely timed, that there were lessons, there were experiences, there was healing that was still a part of the process that brought me to this time now, that I feel that spark or that sense of motivation or ability to take a step. And if I'm not there yet, then be here now and take a look at it from perhaps some different perspectives, which again, like I said, the Hanged Man had shown up today as Wednesday's card when I was tapping in for the collective on Sunday as a midweek blessing of like, flipped upside down, what do I have an opportunity to see from this vantage point, and how can I look at it with a fresh perspective? And it was really all about, one's becoming, because in this gorgeous deck that we were using for February, the Tower of the Cosmic Seed, it's a rose as the head, and actually when I pulled it at first, I thought the card was reversed, and I tried to turn it over because I realized, like, oh, it's the Hanged One. I love that unfolding rose, because it is an ever unfolding process that as much as we want to pry those petals open, whether it's in our rose or in someone else's, because we just wish they would get it, it's divine timing. It's be here now. It's trusting that process, but also doing it from an empowered place where you're making some conscious, co-creative choices and taking steps, even if the step is to just be in this moment, in order to create that new program that we're building.
Yeah, and that is so true, and it's so really profound. And that's why, rather than trying to pry somebody else's petals open or forcing our own open, is that inner guidance system. And that's why Mars is in Cancer retrograde. I know from traditional astrology, Mars in Cancer has a bad rep because it's in fall, because Mars is exalted in Capricorn. But Mars in Cancer is exactly what we need right now, because unless we learn to navigate through our own inner compass, our own emotions, right? We're going to be lost out there. How are we going to find our own way to create a reality if we are being bombarded with all these external factors, and each of them is going to take us into completely different direction emotionally? So Mars is how Pluto acts consciously, right? Mars is like the arrow, our action. So how are we going to move forward if we can't even take a handle of our own emotions?
Yeah.
So it makes perfect sense to me, because then when we learn to work with our own emotions and trust ourselves, trust our inner guidance without doubting ourselves continuously, because the foundation is not strong, because we don't feel worthy, because we think somebody else is the expert, right? Nobody's an expert of you. Nobody knows how you feel, only you know. And then we can move forward. And like you said, and I've been tapping into the same thing, Aries season. Yeah, past Aries season, because Mars will be direct, Venus will be almost direct. She's retrograde until full moon in Libra until 12th of April. So it's really from May, when they come out of shadow, when we're really moving forward. And by that point, Pluto will be retrograde. So, I mean, we don't really have much of non-retrograde time this year, only about a week between Mars and Venus, because then we're going to have Mercury retrograde in, I think, end of March. So it's just one thing after another, and it's all the retrograde planets are forcing us to go inwards, to individuate, to break free from the pattern.
Yeah, absolutely. So it really comes back to that foundation. We want to make sure that we're building it on that solid ground. So if we're drenched in emotion, which we talked about the fact that this is just arms above water but completely submerged, making choices and really having to trust that internal sense that we want to be able to process and really clear through as much of that as we can, so that as we're talking about like handling our own personal emotions and sense of safety and security that we find within ourselves versus looking outside, so that we have that stable foundation that's been built, so we can then go out and come to the table and redo those plans that we're working on, with and I love this one because we see the two aspects of the emperor with that shadow self right there, so there's this sense of like, this is something that's being created from both aspects. So it is important that we spend this time in that inner reflection to be able to look at the shadow. And again, radical compassion was another word that came up in the cards, in terms of as frustrating and disenchanted as those Four of Cups can be, and not being able to pry open the petals, there's a sense of, just that allowance for recognizing that everyone, including versions of ourselves, are moving through their own process and through their own perspectives and their own lenses. And so the more that we can be on board with holding that perspective of being open as an observer with radical compassion, while having that authenticity and that rebel heart, that's that recipe to really start creating. We're using those four poles to create from, that sense of that framework that is being established now through this work that we're still doing before we get to that go period, that brief forward moving window that you were mentioning before more retrograde.
Like 1 week. Literally.
Yeah. So, wow, I feel like this is just crazy how it all, I mean, like I said, we start with the Four of Cups, we end with the Four of Cups, and in the middle, there's a good variety of no air, though. So, although we're in Aquarius season and those energies are definitely being felt and experienced, and all of the cards that came forward are bringing water, fire, earth energies, for us to work with the elements when it comes to how we can really maximize this Leo full moon, and as we move deeper into this month and eventually Pisces season rolling in, more water everywhere. Yeah, so speaking of water, we're going to pull our oracle card here from the Dolphin, the Whispers of the Dolphin Heart. I cannot wait to explore this deck. It's gorgeous. It's a posthumous deck from Angela Hartfield. Her decks have always been just absolutely beautiful, and I thought that would be wonderful for Valentine week, for this connection with the heart and also the inner child. The dolphin felt a good energy to bring in here for a little oracle message for us here in the month.
Yeah, it's also like it really reminds me of Lemuria, and like we have the North Node in Pisces in a new phase conjunction with Neptune, so it's all going beyond the ancient history. We're moving beyond because we've had this 10,000 years of walking on Earth and learning from the mistakes of the past, and now we're on the same, I would say, maybe coming towards the same level of consciousness to make a different choice. Because now we learn some stuff with the South Node in Virgo. So hopefully we can embody all these potentialities in a new way that will take us beyond of the ancient history consequences. So I think it's quite spot on with the dolphin.
Yeah, it's going beyond, and also, again, in the spirit of this coming back around again, it is bringing up from the past those ancient civilizations and ways of being that are actually coming in with a fresh energy. So we're taking that, we're extracting from that, we're having an opportunity to remember the things that are coming back up to the surface at this time, to then take that to go beyond. So again, we're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater, as we like to say. It's about, taking the best and leaving the rest with love, with gratitude, with radical compassion for those 10,000 some years that have served, that we now, because of, we go beyond, right? Not despite, but because of that, those experiences, that we now have this opportunity to transcend.
Yeah, and I think that's beautiful, and that's why we also have this so-called split in Earth, the 3D, 5D, because some people came to help to co-create the new, and some people came to play the role of the contrast and to be the keepers of the past, let's just say. But all is serving, so so we have because also with the Emperor card and the way it's depicted, it also reminds me of that fate and destiny. There are some things that we have to experience, some lessons that we have to learn, some things that are inevitable, but how exactly they're going to play out, who with, and how much suffering we have to go through, that is our free will's choice. So I feel like, as I also, look at this card, I see the higher self and human self, the contracts, the blueprint, that there are things that you came here to experience, and you can't avoid it because that's your destiny, right? But how exactly you're going to go around it, and who with, and how long it's going to take you to master this lesson, that's your free will. So that's what I feel like. A lot of this is potentially being illuminated to us at this time. And again, the main navigating system is your emotion. How does it make you feel? How does it feel in your heart? Does it make you feel motivated and inspired to jump out of the bed, or do you just feel dead inside, like, oh, it's just another grudge, another awful day? So yeah, so I feel that this is where we at before we move into that air element, which is the instant manifestation, with Uranus moving there soon into Aries. So I think that's why there is no air at the moment, because are we really at the level where we want to become an instant manifestors with all these subconscious playing tricks in our life at the moment? So I think that's why we're getting a little bit of a breather this year, with the nodes in water and earth, to feel the feels and learn to work with them. And then we move into the air, into the fast manifestation. So yeah, the universe is very intelligent, everything is happening perfectly.
Wow. Yeah, that's powerful, all of it. And it's like literally what we were just saying, even just again, like when you're waiting for a thing to manifest and happen, and it's like, are you really ready for that? Like, are you ready to hold all of that? Like, there's probably some junk in the trunk that needs to be kind of cleared out, and some things to get into alignment before you're quite ready to receive it. As exciting as it is to just fast forward to that part.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still brought back to the here and now. So yeah. All right, let's see.
The training wheels are still on,
Yeah, just a little bit longer there to really hone that practice. All right, let's see what's coming through. Oh, it's breaking in a new deck. One message for us. Okay. Ooh, let's see. Ah, unforeseen storms, number 35. Wow.
Sounds like Uranus.
It does sound like Uranus. Yeah. Wow. So striking and really feeling that. And it definitely is collective in that there are many dolphins here that are in the swell, in the experience of the choppiness and these things that are being churned up and, again, emotion. There's a lot of emotion tossing it around. And if we look at the dolphins as, I see them very much as a reflection of inner child. But also just this sense of this higher intelligence as well, to know that we're in the fray, but unexpected, it's saying. So let me see, that's number 35. Unforeseen. So again, these things that we maybe don't have a ton of clarity on, or that we can see. And it's bringing through a message that storms will always come and go to disrupt your life. Learn to weather them by using tools that keep you centered, grounded, and loving. And it speaks to, and again, think about these four cups. We have 4 of cups that came up on either side of the messages we've tapped into. Complications, problems, and discord may be clouding your happiness, like literally the 4 of cups, clouding your happiness like a storm over the ocean. No one likes the appearance of challenges, and yet turmoil often presents a potent opportunity for personal growth and development. Things change continuously during a storm. Just as it eventually passes, so will the difficulties in your life. Even in the darkest of times, the sun of clarification eternally shines above the concealed clouds. If you raise your realization high enough, you can learn to rise above what transpires. Be good to yourself by utilizing all your preferred energy clearing methods. Centering and self-healing is how you weather the storm. Unforeseen storms are a disturbance or innovative disruption that feels like the universe kicking you out of relaxed complacency. 4 of cups. The reorganization of your inner mechanism usually brings a modification, ultimately for good. It is a universal truth that things collapse when they become unsustainable, only to be renewed and restored. An individual's journey can include frequent difficulty as much as the experience of happiness. It goes on very much like, who's the other one?
Alana Fairchild.
Yeah, Alana Fairchild. Very rich book and interpretation in there. Beautiful. So spot on to everything that we're tapping into. Unforeseen storms, and yet the storms serve. And again, when we talk about that sense of inner safety and security, we feel like I need to know that the storm is coming. I need to see that this, actually back into that inner detector. If I'm already safe and secure within myself, it doesn't matter the weather, right? And so again, we're turned back to go within. But I also feel that there is a collective, energy here too, with the dolphins, the pod, this sense of your community and your tribe and those within your, all of our worlds, but, in your inner worlds and in the outer worlds, opportunities for us to connect together in order to weather those unforeseen storms.
Absolutely. And what I've been thinking, was how dolphins dive, because like when it's the storm, you either have to dive deep into the ocean when it's calm and unaffected, or if you need to, you have to rise above it, jump. And that's what dolphins do, right? They like jump on a surface and then they dive deep within the ocean. So I feel, just like what you were saying and what we agreed upon before, that when you feel safe and secure inside, emotional stability, the safety and security, that's like the deep ocean, that there are always going to be things happening on the surface of the ocean that are out of your control, the weather, paragliders, whatever, the boats, the yachts, whatever is happening, cruise ships, right? There are things that are outside of your control, there are collective contracts that are outside of your control. However, you can choose to dive deep within your own being, into your emotion, to find the peace and quiet and the stillness that's already always there, you know, the connection to the source, because ocean is always connected to Neptune, which is the source, the all there is. And then if you need to, you are able to jump above the waves, you know, like you said, that, you know, you just have to rise above it, you know, for that brief moment in time. And then you can go back where you feel safe and secure, but you will never find it. Like, we can find the safety and security outside of us, but it's not guaranteed. So we need to have that anchor point, which is inside of you, because the world will never, you know, not always play nice or like be there to meet your needs. Like, you know, and this is also about being the conscious creator of reality. It's my responsibility, your responsibility. It's each of our responsibility to take responsibility for, you know, how we feel, our thoughts and our emotions. Like that time when we keep pointing fingers and blaming someone else, that, oh my God, this politician just made me so angry and now my whole day is ruined or something. They didn't do anything. They just playing their role of a contrast, if need be. And it's up to me to decide, do I want to listen to it and how do I want to respond to it? And how much power do I want to give this person to influence my day? So yeah, so this is like, for example, with people like myself, for example, when I have certain weaknesses, like shopping, then I go, oh, okay, let's just avoid the shops. You know, like I know what's that gonna do, you know, if I'm putting myself in a way that is maybe I haven't fully mastered yet, then I just don't put myself in that situation, you know, or something. If there are things that we can control to avoid emotional dysregulation, there are things we can't control and there are things we can. But I mean, the anchor point always have to be within, and the sense of responsibility always have to be found within, and that's where we find the sense of safety as well, because the Cancer Capricorn comes as a pair.
Those darn paragliders. No, yeah, I mean, you make a new choice, right? You can make a new choice, but again, thank you to the trigger. Thank you to the contrast, because again, I'm disenchanted, I'm unimpressed, I'm triggered, I'm whatever. So now I can make that informed choice. And in the comments too, I see, thank you for pointing out Pisces energy as well, with all of this water and the diving deep and what's beneath the surface. And, you know, I've seen that image of the ocean in both directions, where on one hand, the surface of the water could be very, very choppy, there's stormy energy, and yet in the depths, it's calm and clear and still. And conversely, the top of the water could be very still and clear, and yet when you dive beneath, it's teeming with life, it's teeming with activity, you know, all of the sea life and the coral and the sea urchins and all of the things that are going on. There's such a depth that's going on beneath the surface. So again, it's pushing us to dive deeper and also more observant, with eyes wide open, but not the kind that can see, oh, unforeseen, because we're being brought into, again, with the dolphins too, very much the third eye energy, this intuitive eye, that when we're not able to see what's coming, or, you know, when we're not happy with what we see, this is this, again, pulling us to go in and really feel into that as we navigate, so that the weather is really irrelevant. What the weather in terms of the energies or the literal, you know, things that are happening in the earth, that, you know, again, being able to toe that line of being conscious and aware and taking action where needed, but also not allowing it to fully derail you from whatever path you are on, in terms of, you know, what it is that you're bringing forward, whatever frequency it is that you're holding.
And I mean, you know, just the last thing to say about that is that obviously, like you said, that no matter the weather, because these dolphins are obviously equipped to deal with any weather. You know, is it rainy? Is it sunny? Do I have to be on a, you know, on the top of the wave in a deep ocean? Like, they're fully equipped, and that's technically what we all are. We're not being sent here to the planet Earth hopeless, without any tools or connection to the source, right? We all have the ability to connect and manifest in our reality whatever we need, to be the frequency match to whatever we need to manifest. It's just a matter of focus and practice, you know, the South Node in Virgo. We need to practice that, because we are not being trained to do that, to live this way. So I really feel, you know, like this is really such a pivotal year in the human history, because we really learning to start experiencing reality the different way that is more in alignment with where we're going, because with every single lunation the pattern is changing and we've been gently or not so gently pushed into this new direction, and we need to very quickly calibrate, even though, you know, it and this is again the paradox, because we feel time is going so quickly, but the changes in our external reality are not happening so quickly, because obviously our body has to adjust to all these frequencies, and the main shifts are happening internally. And I know that somebody pointing out the Pisces energy, this is because we are learning to attune to who we really are, the higher self, the source, because our manifested form, our incarnated form, is just a very small aspect of who we really are. It's just how we experience in this reality, the right here, right now. So we are really, this year, we are learning to allow that non-visible to become more present and guiding force in our everyday life. And that's what's going to be guiding us in the upcoming times.
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing that was coming to mind there as you were talking about that connection, especially to spirit and also, you know, in frequency, is communication and the dolphins and what they have to teach us about that. And I'm not an expert in, I guess, the sonar or the way that they communicate with sound, and also just, you know, knowing how psychic and the energies and the higher wisdom that dolphins embody and bring forward that we haven't even scratched the surface to understand. Again, there's a lot of symbolism in that in the midst of the storm, in the midst of unforeseen challenges, that we find new ways to connect and new ways to communicate, or maybe old ways that we're remembering or bringing back online, or beginning to incorporate as well. So definitely getting a nod there too to that dolphin medicine.
Yeah, it's also more and more people are being able to incorporate light language into everyday life, and more of us are starting to pick up on telepathy, and that will be even more profound and widely experienced once Uranus goes into Gemini, because the dolphins is like beyond our way of understanding how they really connect and communicate also on such a far distances and stuff. And this is what we are learning, you know, how do we connect with one another even though we are on some different parts in the world. And I feel the internet was again just a tool to, you know, just like when we do a reading or whatever, like, oh yeah, we have something in front of us, like the cards or, you know, the astrology and stuff, to for the brain to can logically analyze and explain, like, oh yeah, this is what I'm tapping into, but what I'm tapping into is something completely different. But we have the tools so we can rationalize it. So I feel like internet again is the temporary in-between bridging tool to help us trust ourselves more, so we can actually connect without any third party. And that's where we're heading, you know, like this telepathic communication where we don't need any intermediary. So yes, so that's all this stuff of the future to look forward to.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that energy coming in. And like we say, oh my gosh, so on the bottom, I just wanted to pick it up, and it is light body. So
Oh yeah.
that's gorgeous. Wow. So that's definitely, and it is number 36. So it brings forward that 9 frequency that, again, this is the wrap up, this is the culmination, this is the graduation, as we, but also calls for perseverance and resilience, you know, because yes, there are unforeseen storms, but the storms serve. And so as they serve, we use our tools. And actually the book even goes on to describe the process of what dolphins do in a storm and how they go deep beneath the surface, but that they do need to come up in order to breathe, right? So they have a process of sticking together in community in order to weather the storm. And here we have the energy of the light body coming in, which is beautiful, because there is this connection, heart to heart connection, that's happening with that essence of who we are, and bringing that in, calling that in, and connecting there in order to weather the storms. So definitely feeling that definitely feels like putting us where we may pick up where we're leaving off when we tap into March. Yeah, the next
Yeah.
time we get together, episode 35. Oh, this is card 35. And that's 36. So
Perfect.
yeah, so we're getting a little sequence. So okay, the emperor would be happy with that. There's a lot of like, okay, 35, 36, and we'll have episode, but nonetheless, we're prepared for the unexpected.
And also the Emperor card and the light body looks the same.
Yes, you're right. This is exactly what you were saying about both, right? Showing up. So you see that there is
Yes.
that sense of that shadow aspect or that reflection, or maybe it is the light aspect. It's standing in front of what looks to be a sun or sunflower. So, again, incorporating shadow and bringing forward, it's not all bad. That's the other thing. I know we're giving a wrap to the to the structure and the very like never makes a move, he doesn't know will be successful energy, but then again taking from that the framework and creating the future from there.
The human self and the higher self coming together in co-creation. And yeah, the next time we're going to meet together, we will be covering the eclipses. So how about that?
Okay, well, I look forward to that. But yeah, so we'll be recording episode 35 in the coming weeks. So of course we'll share about that here on Instagram. We post that on our YouTube channels, and then we do a mid-month deep dive here live. So this was great. I appreciate everyone who came out live and for your comments and your interaction, and of course anyone who catches the replay. We post this on YouTube as well. So thank you all for being here. And yeah, I think we just about covered everything. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we're good. I think we made this Leo full moon proud.
Okay, good. You can check that box.
Exactly.
All right. Well, till next time, sending everybody much love, many blessings. We'll talk soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.